Greetings, love bugs. This is Miss Chappell with a quick recap in case you missed our Zoom meeting today. The first thing we did was talk about what Mindful Mondays will look like. So just like we used to have Mindful Mondays in the classroom, we will now be doing them live on Zoom. So your only work for me every Monday is to log in on Zoom. The meeting IDs and links are posted in Google Classroom. They will be the same each week since they are recurring meetings. I will repost them every Monday so that they're easy for you to access as well. So in our Mindful Mondays, we will be working on our mindfulness lessons. I've also attached in Google Classroom the mindfulness workbook, just in case yours didn't make it home before spring break. That's okay. Nothing in the workbook is required. I'm never gonna take it for a grade, but if you wanna do it for fun, you're always more than welcome to. Today's pages are 14 and 15 because we're doing 2 lessons in your mindfulness workbook. So this week looks very similar to last week. As we're finishing up this novel, the same pattern's going to repeat. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, your due now for every single lesson is to go on Quizlet for 5 to 10 minutes and practice your vocab words. That's important because on Friday you're going to have a quiz that will also include those vocab words as well as some comprehension questions. So on Tuesday you're going to read chapter 10 and then answer in the new study guide that I will post tomorrow any questions that are for chapter 10. On Wednesday, you read chapter 11, you answer any questions for chapter 11 in the study guide, and then on Thursday, you'll read chapters 12 and 13, and I've made your study guide questions a little bit shorter for that day since you're reading more. You will answer those questions in the study guide. On Thursday, and Thursday only, is when you press turn in for your study guide. I'll repeat that. You only need to turn in your study guide on Thursday. The rest of the week is just like you working in your journal, and then on Thursday is like me doing your journal check. Got it? Okay, on Friday, you're going to read chapter 14, and then you're going to take your quiz. For your quiz, you are welcome to use the book to find evidence from the text to support any of your answers. That is A-OK, but you may not use any vocabulary materials to help you with the vocab. Please be on the best honor system possible. So some students had a question about our living history project. So we talked about last week that this is a kind of unusual time in history, and your children and grandchildren and historians may want to know what it was like for a 4th grader in 2020 when they had to spend their days at home and not go to traditional school. So what I would like you to do is create a journal or a piece of art, something that represents your perspective or what life was like for you during quarantine. That way historians can have it as a primary source in the future. Lots of kids ask me, when is this due? It is due at the end of quarantine. So keep working on this project until we are back at school. And then I will let you know when to turn it in. We did 2 mindfulness activities. One is called slow motion. So what we did is we raised our hands super duper 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 slowly. I'm just gonna recap for you. Way slower than that, about like 10 times slower than that. And as we were doing it, we were focusing our attention to what it feels like and what sensations that we noticed. So lots of students said that when they raise their arms super, super, super slowly, let's do it together now. You may not be able to see, but we're gonna start with our hands at our sides like this. Okay, and raising your hand ever so slowly up to your thigh, your hips, up the side of your body, till your elbow is parallel with your shoulder, fingertips past your shoulder, past your ear, past your head, slowly, slowly, reaching up high, high, high to the sky until finally your hand's raised. So what we had talked about, students and I, is that how during a regular school day when we are physically in school, we're raising our hands all the time, probably at least 20 times a day. So the reason why I had you do that activity is to notice all the different sensations that you feel. Well, how can that help you in the future? Well, in your day-to-day life, it's a really good idea to slow down and be mindful of what's going on around you, right? How your body feels, what it feels like in this space. It's also helpful to help slow down your thoughts so that you can speak more clearly and be better communicators, as well as make sure that the actions and the choices that you're making are the right ones. So that was pretty much our slow motion lesson, okay? Feeling our bodies in slow motion and getting used to that practice of slowing things down. The second lesson that we did was called Looking for the Good. So this week I challenge you to have an attitude of gratitude and throw away that stinking thinking. So for example, when this quarantine first started, I walked over to my spin studio and I stared at it from outside longingly. And I could even see Bike 48 that I normally ride. And when I went home, I felt so sad, right? I was kind of setting myself up to feel sad, wasn't I? By going and seeing something that I missed and then concentrating my energy and my thoughts on something that I missed. So we all know that whatever our thinking is, whatever we allow our thoughts to be, is how we're going to eventually feel. So instead of focusing on the negative, I know we're probably missing a lot of things that we normally do right now, but instead of focusing our attention on that, why don't we focus on the positive instead? So I asked students to take some deep breaths and focus on what is positive for you. And some students said things big, like their family or their health. And some students said, I'm very grateful for things that are small, like my bed, or even the air that we breathe, or being able to walk. All of these things we can be grateful for. So my challenge to you is to do a gratitude log. Every night before I go to bed, I've been writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for, and they can't repeat from the days prior. So ask yourself tonight, what are you grateful for? All right, love bugs, have a great week. Remember, you can PM me or text or call if you need anything at all. Have a wonderful, grateful week.